Beloved listeners, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine waking up every morning with the same routine, the same schedule, the same expectations. You head to the office, clock in, put in hours, and receive a paycheck at the end of the month, your compensation for trading your precious time for someone else's profit. Now, ask yourself, is this truly the life you want? Is this how you envision your future? Most people, if they are being honest, never realize this about work. The system has conditioned us to believe that getting a job is the only way to build wealth, security, and success. We are taught that it is the safest path, the one that will provide a comfortable life, the one that promises stability. But what is stability really? Is it just a trade-off between a paycheck and your precious time? Is it truly success if it keeps you shackled to a desk, working on someone else's dreams, helping them build their empire while you remain stuck in the same position year after year? There's an undeniable truth about the traditional model of work. Ours, it keeps you small as. When you work for someone else, you are not in control. You might think you are, but in reality, you are ours at the mercy of others. You trade your time for money, but money is never enough. It never gives you true freedom. It never gives you the ability to live on your own terms, to wake up each day and do what you truly love. The moment you realize this is the moment your entire perception of work will shift. The moment you realize that getting a job is for losers is the moment you open your eyes to a whole new world of opportunity. Now, I know what you're thinking, but how can I survive without a job? What else is there to do? And I get it. The fear of leaving the comfort zone, the fear of taking risks is real. But let me ask you, say, what is the cost of staying in this comfort zone? Sure, your paycheck comes every 2 weeks. Sure, you get benefits. But have you ever stopped to consider the czar's true cost of this kind of security? The cost of selling your time for a fixed sum is far greater than you realize. You are selling your freedom, your potential, and most importantly, your dreams. When we choose a job over an entrepreneurial path, over an investment mindset, we are choosing to limit ourselves. We are accepting someone else's terms, their schedules, and their rules. You're telling yourself that your worth is defined by how much time you can work and how well you can follow instructions. But true wealth and success have little to do with how much time you can put in. They have everything to do with what you create is, and how you leverage your efforts, your creativity, and your time. Think about it, the richest people in the world do not trade their time for money. They have built systems. They have invested in things that make money for them. They have created businesses, invested in stocks, real estate, or technology that continue to grow even when they sleep. They don't sell their time. They make hours of their time work for them. They don't rely on a paycheck. They rely on their assets, on things that continue to generate wealth without them having to lift a finger. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the only way to success is through a job. It's easy to follow the path that society has set for us. After all, we've been told since childhood that the way to a secure future is by getting good grades, getting into a good school, landing a solid job, and working your way up. And yes, those things can bring you a certain level of stability, but they are not the path to wealth. The stability is a mirage. It gives the illusion of security while keeping you tied to a system that will never allow you to reach your full potential. Here's the hard truth. The corporate ladder is a lie. Sure, you can climb it, but it's going to take years, and when you reach the top, you'll find that the view isn't nearly as beautiful as you thought it would be. The success you're chasing is often someone else's vision of success. You're working to make someone else's dreams a reality while putting yours on hold. And when you reach that peak, you'll realize that you gave up more than you gained. The truth is, working for a paycheck is not an investment in your future. It's an investment in someone else's. And what happens when you can no longer contribute to that paycheck? What happens when you're too old, too tired, or too sick to keep trading your time for money? What's left for you? This is why I say that getting a job is for losers, sir. Not because jobs are inherently bad, but because they keep you small. They keep you from seeing what is possible, from seeing the potential that lies within you. There is a world of opportunity out there, a world where you are in control, a world where you make the rules, and a world where your wealth and freedom are not tied to someone else's terms. In the next part, we're going to explore the danger of playing it safe and why this mindset is the biggest roadblock to achieving others' real wealth. Why do most people live their whole lives avoiding risk? What are the consequences of avoiding failure and sticking to the so-called safe route? It's time to rethink everything you've been told about work, success, and money. Dear family of dreamers, as we journey deeper into the truth about work, wealth, and success, let me ask you a question. So what are you really avoiding? When you stay in that comfort zone, when you keep playing it safe, what exactly are you afraid of? Many people, far too many people, live their lives avoiding risk. They stay within the safe boundaries of the known, the job, the steady paycheck, the security of following the rules. But what if I told you that as playing it safe is the fastest way to fail? That by avoiding risks, by avoiding challenges, by staying inside the neat little box that society has made for you, you are keeping yourself from ever achieving anything that resembles Dora's true success. You see, the fear of risk is often what holds us back the most. It's ingrained in us from a young age. We are taught to fear failure, to avoid mistakes, to play by the rules. And that makes sense in the short term. After all, who wants to fail? Who wants to face the discomfort of failure, of setbacks, of making mistakes? But here's the truth. As a failure is not the enemy. In fact, as failure is your greatest teacher. Let me share a story with you. Years ago, there was a man just like you, just like me. He had a steady job, a reliable paycheck, and an ordinary life. But deep inside, he always felt that he was capable of something more. He had dreams, big dreams, but he had been conditioned to believe that those dreams were too risky. His fear kept him stuck in a job he hated, a life he wasn't proud of. One day, he finally realized something that changed everything. The fear of losing what you have is always smaller than the fear of never achieving your dreams. So he took a risk. He stepped away from that safe life and started his own business. And it was tough. It was harder than anything he had ever done. There were failures, there were mistakes, there were days when he wanted to quit. But each failure taught him something. Each mistake helped him grow, sharpened his skills, and opened up new doors. That man eventually built something much larger than he could have imagined. He built his own empire, his own legacy. And when he looked back, he realized that if he had stayed in his comfort zone, if he had never taken the risk, he would have never tasted the real success that he now enjoyed. What's my point here? As risk is not the enemy. The enemy is the fear that keeps you locked in a small, comfortable, predictable life. The enemy is the idea that avoiding failure will somehow lead to success. It's the mindset that staying safe is the key to security. But in reality, playing it safe keeps you stuck. The richest people in the world didn't get there by playing it safe. They got there by embracing risk, by stepping into the unknown, by doing things that others were too afraid to do. They didn't wait for opportunities to come to them. They created their own opportunities. And yes, they failed along the way. They failed a lot. But each failure wasn't the end. It was simply another step towards success. We've all heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But what if I told you that as the truly wealthy people do exactly that? They focus their efforts on one opportunity, one idea, one passion, and they go all in. They understand that the greatest risk in life is not to take risks. The greatest risk is staying as averagey, staying as comfortable, staying within the limits that others set for you. Let's take a moment to reflect on the biggest illusion of all, that a safety job, a steady paycheck, is the key to stability and success. The truth is, you can lose your job at any moment. Companies fail, industries change, markets crash. And when that happens, all you have left is your ability to adapt, to create, and to build something that cannot be taken away. If you are relying on a paycheck as your only source of income, you are vulnerable. You are subject to someone else's whims, someone else's decisions, someone else's needs. But when you build your own wealth, when you create your own opportunities, you are no longer subject to the mercy of a system that may not always have your best interest at heart. This brings us to the most powerful truth of all, you must own your time. The moment you step outside the comfort zone, the moment you take control of your financial future, you begin to own your life. You stop being a cog in the machine and become the architect of your own destiny. You stop working to make someone else rich and start working to make yourself rich. not just in money, but in freedom, in choices, and in eyes the power to design your own life. So, what are you afraid of? The only thing standing between you and true success is the fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. And once you overcome that fear, once you realize that as a risk is where growth happens, you'll see the world open up to you in ways you never imagined. Dear family of dreamers, we've talked about the comfort zone and the illusion of safety that comes with a regular job. But now, let's explore the crucial step that will change everything. How to break free from that cycle of trading time for money. How do you stop working for a paycheck and start building true wealth? The first thing you need to understand is this: for years, the traditional path to success, the one where you climb the corporate ladder, is no longer the only nor the best option. In fact, in many ways, it is the slowest and most inefficient path to wealth. There are far smarter, faster, and more rewarding ways to build lasting financial freedom. But they require something different: a shift in mindset, a willingness to take calculated risks, and the courage to follow your own path. I know it's not easy. For years, we have been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our job title, to our salary, to the size of our paycheck. But let me tell you this: your true worth is not measured by your job. It is measured by as what you can create, as what you can build, and as what you can offer the world. So, how do you start? The first step is to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. Whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur or someone who has been in the workforce for years, the key is to shift from trading time for money to leveraging your time, your skills, and your resources for greater return. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power of entrepreneurship. You might be thinking, but I don't have a business idea. I don't have the resources. I'm not a risk taker. Well, let me share something important with you. Entrepreneurship doesn't always mean starting a business from scratch. It can be about finding opportunities to invest in things that generate passive income, things that work for you while you sleep. Real wealth comes from leveraging other people's time and resources. The richest people in the world understand this. They know that success isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about finding the right opportunities and bringing the right people together. It's about creating systems that work, systems that generate income without requiring your constant attention. Think of it this way: when you work for a company, you are contributing to someone else's system. You are helping build someone else's empire. But when you become the one creating the systems, when you start investing in assets that grow your wealth, you start building as your own empire. One of the smartest and most powerful ways to break free from the cycle of working for a paycheck is by investing. Whether it's in real estate, stocks, businesses, or other forms of passive income, investing allows you to make money work for you. But here's the catch: investing isn't just about throwing money into the stock market or buying property. It's about making strategic decisions and taking calculated risks. It's about learning to make your money work harder than you ever could by working for someone else. Let me give you an example. There was once a man who worked in a corporate job for many years, earning a solid income. He had a steady life, a stable paycheck, and was comfortable. But deep inside, he knew he was meant for something more. One day he took the leap. He invested in real estate, a market he didn't know well, but he educated himself, took calculated risks, and started with a small property. Over time, he grew his portfolio. He learned the ins and outs of investing, and he used the cash flow from his properties to fund even more investments. Eventually, he reached a point where he no longer needed to work for someone else. His assets were working for him. His time was his own, and while his journey was not without its setbacks, it was worth every risk he took, because it gave him the freedom he had always dreamed of. This is the power of investing, the ability to create wealth on your terms. It's the ability to own your time, to stop trading it for money, and to start building something that lasts. But you might still be wondering, how do I start? What if I don't have the money to invest? What if I fail? These are all valid concerns. But the truth is, everyone starts somewhere. The key is to start as small. You don't have to be a millionaire to begin investing. You don't need to have all the answers or have everything figured out. What you need is the courage to begin. The most successful people didn't get there by waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect amount of capital. They got there by starting with what they had, by learning along the way, and by taking calculated risks. They didn't fear failure, they embraced it. Because with each failure came growth, and with each success came more freedom. Beloved listeners, as we move forward in this journey, I want to talk to you about one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is investing. Many people think that investing is just about buying stocks or real estate, hoping for a windfall. But in truth, investing is a mindset. It is a mindset that sees the world not in terms of scarcity, but in terms of opportunity. It is a mindset that understands the power of ESA's compound growth and the value of time. When you invest, you are not simply putting money into a bank account or a stock market fund. You are planting seeds for the future. And the beauty of investing is this: the more time your money has to grow, the more it compounds. Whether it's in the form of stocks, bonds, real estate, or business ventures, the key to investing is patience. It's not about seeking short-term gains or chasing the latest trends. It's about making thoughtful, strategic investments that will grow over time, bringing you the year's freedom and year's security you've been dreaming of. Let me take a moment to reflect on something that seems so simple, yet it eludes so many. The magic of compound interest. This is what Warren Buffett often refers to as the eighth wonder of the world. When you invest your money wisely and you allow it to grow, you create a snowball effect. You start small, but over time, your investments start to snowball, gaining momentum and increasing in value. The secret to this process is patience. Too many people want to see immediate results. They want their investments to pay off in the short term, but true wealth comes from a long-term commitment. The richest people don't get rich overnight. They don't play the market like gamblers. They take calculated risks. They buy assets they believe in, and they give those investments the time to grow. They understand that wealth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And those who understand the value of patience reap the greatest rewards. Investing isn't about chasing quick profits or jumping from one hot opportunity to the next. It's about creating a foundation of wealth, a foundation that will continue to grow long after you've stopped working. It's about buying good assets that will appreciate over time, real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or businesses that generate cash flow are examples of investments that can work for you even when you sleep. The beauty of investing is that it creates passive income. Unlike the job you trade your time for, your investments can generate money without your active involvement. Think about it. While you're out living your life, your money is working for you. That's true freedom. The idea that you can work hard for a few years, then have your investments keep you financially secure for the rest of your life, this is the real secret to wealth. But how do you get started? How do you ensure that your investments are working for you and not the other way around? The first step is education. You need to understand what you're investing in. Don't be fooled by flashy promises of fast money or get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, learn about the businesses or assets you are investing in. Understand the underlying fundamentals, the risks, and the potential for growth. Make decisions based on knowledge and research, not emotions or gut feelings. The second step is to start small. If you're new to investing, don't worry about building a massive portfolio right away. Start with one or two investments that you believe in. Watch them grow. Learn from them. And as you gain confidence, you can increase your investments, diversify, and build a portfolio that works for you. But most importantly, don't be afraid to take risks. Every investment involves risk, but not taking risks is a feather's bigger risk. The only way to grow, the only way to achieve wealth is by taking action, by being willing to put your money into things that have the potential to grow. And remember, risk does not mean recklessness. Taking calculated, informed risks is a key ingredient of success. I want to leave you with one final thought on investing. The greatest asset you have is time. Time is your ally when you invest. The longer your money has to grow, the more it will compound. You don't need to have millions to start. You just need to start early, and you need to be consistent. The more time you give your money, the greater the rewards you will see. Dear family of dreamers. Now that we've discussed how to build wealth through entrepreneurship, investing, and taking risks, let's take a step back and talk about something that is absolutely critical to ensuring that the wealth you are building doesn't just disappear. This is something that, unfortunately, far too many people neglect in their pursuit of financial freedom: asset allocation. In simple terms, asset allocation is the process of deciding how to spread your investments across different asset classes, such as stocks, bonds, real estate, and cash. The goal is to diversify your investments in a way that minimizes risk while maximizing potential returns. It's about balancing the growth of your portfolio with the safety of your capital. Now, I know what you're thinking: diversification is the key to a safe, secure financial future, right? Well, here's the thing: it's not about just diversifying for the sake of diversifying. The key to successful asset allocation is not to spread yourself thin, but to choose assets that align with your long-term goals and risk tolerance. Many people mistakenly think that by owning a variety of different assets, they are automatically protected from risk. They scatter their investments across stocks, bonds, real estate, and commodities, thinking that this safety net will keep them from suffering big losses. But here's the truth, Reserven: if you don't understand the assets you own, if you don't understand how they work together, you're just as vulnerable as if you were concentrated in a single investment. You can't just blindly throw your money into a bunch of different assets and hope for the best. The first step in intelligent asset allocation is education. You need to know what each asset does, how it behaves in different market conditions, and what risks you are exposing yourself to. Real estate, for example, tends to be less volatile than stocks, but it's still subject to market cycles, interest rates, and other factors. Bonds, on the other hand, can be more stable but often provide lower returns. Stocks, while they have the potential for high returns, also carry greater risk. So the question is, how do you allocate your assets in a way that gives you the best of both worlds, growth and safety? The answer lies in understanding your goals and your time horizon. If you are young, with plenty of time to let your investments grow, you might allocate more of your capital into growth assets, such as stocks and real estate, which have the potential to deliver higher returns over the long term. If you are closer to retirement, you might want to shift some of your money into more stable assets, such as bonds or dividend-paying stocks that can provide consistent income while preserving your capital. The key to a successful asset allocation strategy is that it should evolve with you over time. As your life circumstances change, as you get older, as your financial goals shift, or as the market changes, your asset allocation should adapt accordingly. This is why it's so important to review your portfolio regularly and make adjustments as necessary. But it's not just about balancing risk and reward. There's another crucial aspect of asset allocation that many investors overlook: is its liquidity. This refers to how easily you can access your money when you need it. Some assets, like stocks, are highly liquid, meaning you can buy or sell them quickly. Other assets, like real estate or certain types of investments, are less liquid. They take time to sell or convert into cash. Understanding liquidity is important because it helps you prepare for unexpected events. What if you suddenly need access to cash? What if you face an emergency? Or if a market downturn forces you to sell some of your investments to cover expenses? Having a portion of your portfolio in liquid assets ensures that you can weather those storms without having to sell off your long-term investments at the wrong time. One of the greatest mistakes investors make is treating their assets as if they are all the same. They treat real estate like stocks, or they treat cash like a growth asset. But each asset class has its own role in your overall strategy. Stocks are for growth, real estate is for long-term stability and income, bonds are for safety and income, and cash is for liquidity. Understanding the role each asset plays in your portfolio and how to allocate your capital accordingly is the key to protecting and growing your wealth. Another important consideration is tax efficiency. Some assets, like real estate, offer tax advantages, while others, like certain types of stocks or bonds, may be subject to higher taxes on dividends and capital gains. A smart investor looks for ways to minimize taxes, such as taking advantage of tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401s, or using tax-efficient investment strategies. Every dollar you save on taxes is a dollar you can reinvest into growing your wealth. Ultimately, asset allocation is not about picking the best asset class. It's about creating a vast, balanced, as well-rounded portfolio that aligns with your personal goals and risk tolerance. The goal is to protect your wealth from volatility while still allowing for growth over time. And while there's no one-size-fits-all formula, the key is to be deliberate in your choices. Know what you own and why you own it. As we move towards the final part of this journey, let's reflect on this. First, wealth is not just about how much you make. It's about how well you manage what you have. Your investments, your assets, your strategy, these are the building blocks of your financial future. The wealthiest individuals in the world didn't get there by accident. They got there by understanding the principles of investing, the power of asset allocation, and the importance of making your money work for you. Beloved listeners, we've explored the principles of entrepreneurship, investing, and asset allocation, and we've discussed how to break free from the trap of trading time for money. But there's one final piece of the puzzle that is often overlooked: is your mindset. Cares how you think about money, success, and wealth has the power to shape your reality. Your mindset is the force that either propels you forward or holds you back. I want you to consider this: wealth is not just a financial state, it is a state of mind. You can have all the money in the world, but if your mindset isn't aligned with true abundance, you'll never feel fulfilled. On the other hand, someone with a growth-oriented, abundance-driven mindset can attract opportunities and create wealth from virtually nothing. It's not about what you have, it's about how you see the world. One of the most profound insights I've come to realize is that as wealth is a reflection of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. If you believe that you're only worth as much as your paycheck, then you will never break free from the cycle of working for money. If you see money as something to hoard, something to guard with fear and scarcity, then you'll never allow it to work for you. Instead, what you need is a mindset of abundancy. This is not some pie-in-the-sky notion. It is a deeply rooted belief that there is more than enough wealth in the world for anyone who is willing to seek it. A mindset of abundance isn't just about having an optimistic view of the world. It's about believing that wealth is earned, but also shared. When you operate from a place of abundance, you begin to see opportunities in every situation. You stop thinking about what you can't do and start thinking about what you can do, what's within your control. I know that for many people, money can feel like a scarce resource. But the truth is, ours money is abundant. The real scarcity is in the mindset of people who think they're limited by their circumstances, by their job, or by their past. The wealthy understand that there is always opportunity. There is always something more to learn, something new to create, and something new to invest in. Let's reflect on the concept of giving for a moment. I know this might sound counterintuitive when we're talking about building wealth, but hear me out. Givings, whether it's time, knowledge, or money, is a critical component of true abundance. When you give, you signal to the universe that you are not afraid to share your wealth. And when you share, you begin to attract more of it. I'm not talking about giving in the traditional sense, where you give away all your resources. No, I'm talking about giving from a place of overflow. When your wealth overflows, you can share it with others, and in doing so, you elevate yourself. You're investing in others, but in turn, you're investing in yourself. In this journey of building wealth, you will undoubtedly face challenges. There will be setbacks, risks, and even failures. But the way you approach these challenges with an abundance mindset will determine your success. When you see every obstacle as an opportunity for growth, you allow yourself to learn, adapt, and come back stronger. As failure is not the end, it's just another part of the learning process. We also need to talk about patience. The world doesn't work on your timeline, and neither does wealth. A true wealth takes time to build. You have to stay consistent, stay the course, and trust the process. Too many people get discouraged after a few setbacks or a couple of bad investments, and they give up. They say, "This isn't working." But the reality is, wealth is a long-term game. The most successful people didn't achieve wealth in a year or two. It took decades of learning, growing, investing, and failing. And the ones who succeeded weren't the ones who were the smartest, the fastest, or the luckiest. They were the ones who kept going, who persisted in the face of adversity. They didn't let fear or doubt stop them. And you must do the same. Finally, understand that the S goal of wealth is not just about accumulating money for the sake of having money. It's about what you can do with that wealth. As how can you live a life of meaning, of contribution, of service? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters most. Your wealth allows you to have heirs' freedom, freedom to live on your terms, freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom to give, to travel, to learn, to create, and to help others. This is the power of as abundances. It opens up a world of possibilities. And this, ultimately, is what you're building, not just a financial empire, but a life of purpose and impact. So, as we wrap up this journey, let's reflect on everything we've discussed. Building wealth is not just about making money. It's about adopting a mindset that allows you to see opportunities where others see scarcity. It's about investing in your future, taking calculated risks, and staying patient as you watch your wealth grow over time. It's about understanding the power of asset allocation and creating a strategy that works for you, not against you. And it's about cultivating a mindset of abundance so that you can give and receive freely without fear and without limitations. Remember, wealth is not a destination, it's a journey. And it's a journey that requires both intelligence and perseverance. The road may be long, but if you stay true to your purpose, if you trust the process, and if you keep growing, your wealth will not just be financial. It will be a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of relationships, and a wealth of fulfillment that far exceeds the material. The world is abundant, and so are you. Keep your mind open, keep your heart strong, and keep walking down the path of financial freedom. Because when you do, you will find that not only can you live the life of your dreams, you will help others do the same. And that, my dear friends, is the true power of wealth.